Donna, did you want to have a specific item?
Okay, I have the recording
All right,
started.
good. We now call to order the Design Review Board meeting, November 6, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, Peter Gaffa.
Yep.
Stephen Green.
Here.
Todd Coughlin.
Here.
Frank Davis here. John Sky.
Present.
Ben Lepley.
Here.
Leslie Johns is here. The staff would like to inform all applicants that the applications on this DRB agenda will require a building permit or a sign permit. That design review board approval does not necessarily reflect the views and policies of the State Historic Preservation Office, which controls decisions impacting tax status, designated contributing historic properties. Please review SHPO's policies. If necessary, contact them directly before making any exterior changes to your property. There's also another little piece that Bruce has added in here for your information. The intent of the design review process as applied within Bisbee Historic District is to A, improve, encourage uses leading to conservation and other or rehabilitation of buildings, structures, sites, objects, and spaces within the historic district, while allowing for a vibrant, creative, and livable community. B, encourage harmonious growth and orderly development. C, assure the future setting, design, and construction will correspond and enhance the visual characteristics of the district. D, prevent construction, alteration, or remodeling from occurring in a manner that would be detrimental to historical or visual characterizations of the district. Call to the public. Donna?
Thank you. My name is Donna Pulling. I'm here to talk about two things, actually. The first is that I want to congratulate and thank the city manager for reporting on the upgrades to the design review board guidelines. And I think it's going to simplify the process that you just explained in your introduction and make it easier for people to understand what the design review board is looking for in terms of rehabilitation of their exteriors. And so thank you very much. I think that's going to be approved by council. I'm not sure what the process is right now. Secondly, in keeping with that thought, there is a house in Old Bisbee on Commerce Street. It's formerly infamously known as the Crystal Palace. It is being upgraded right now, and I understand that the slider windows were denied by the design review board, and I noticed today that the trim work is being applied to that house on those slider windows. So I'm hoping that perhaps staff can be directed to look into that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Okay, agenda item 1, election of a new vice chair for the design review board. Open for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Ben Lepley.
I second that.
Do we have a second?
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ben, congratulations.
That's you, buddy.
Very good. Item agenda 2, approval of the minutes of September 4th, 2019. I'll read down through these. This is 4 approvals. Agenda 3 is approval of the minutes of September 12th, 2019. Item 4, approval of the minutes October 2nd, 2019. Agenda item 5, approval of the minutes October 8th, 2019. Anybody have any comments about the minutes? Hear a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda items 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Need a second?
I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Okay. All right, agenda item 6, application 19-55. Bisbee Residential Historic District, contributing property number 527, located at 225 Tombstone Canyon. Applicant Mark Parsons, Representative Mark and Nancy Parsons. Would you please come up and fill us in on what's going on?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for considering this. My name is Mark Parsons, and anyway, I want to move a building. Mark Gurley and I built this building 10 years ago down in Lowell. It's only 96 square feet. We hauled it with a slider bed up to the house that I used to own at 816C Pace Avenue.
Can you go to the microphone?
Okay.
Right, stand up straight.
Stand up straight,
we can-
okay.
yeah. Okay.
Put your chest out.
Anyway, I sold that house up there, and I need to move the building down to our parking lot at 225 Tombstone Canyon. It's the old bus station. It's just 4 doors up beyond the Iron Man on the right. The parking lot's about 6,000 square feet. The footprint of the building is 96 square feet. It's 8 by 12. And it's a very substantially built building. Mark and I put it together on 16-inch center. It's 2 by 4s. It's all screwed together. And it's roofed with rusty tin over a membrane roof. And I want to say that in that photograph of the building itself, there's a slider window in it. And Al Hosey gave me a double hung setup that I'm going to replace that single window with. I've never used the building. It's been parked up there at 816C for a substantial period of time. Kevin Dunlap moved it up there for us. There's a gentleman on Naco Highway that's going to use a pair of dollies, and we're going to hopefully get to move it down to the parking lot at 225. I did contact the telephone company, and they raised that vacuum line. There was a substantial piece of overhead material hanging over the driveway, and just last Thursday they put that thing up. I don't know if you gentlemen each have a plan, a plot plan. Do you know where
I think
we're
we
going to
do,
put it?
yes.
Okay, we're going to put it approximately in the middle of the property. First off, I might move it around, shuffle it a little bit right in that area, but it's going to be immediately north of Mr. Scott's driveway that we just deeded to him when he purchased that property last spring. Anyway, the building is not painted. It appears historic. It does have gables, but it's all used material. It's substantially high-quality material that we recycled into that thing. When Mark and I built that 10 years ago. Bill,
Something. I don't think so.
okay.
Questions?
Yeah, questions?
Yes, are there any questions? I'm sorry.
Comments? Let's see, this was put out for public comment.
Yes.
And we received one phone call inquiring where the shed would be placed, 3 letters in support, 1 notification received with no objections to placement, and 1 email not in favor. So the majority of the comments were favorable for the moving, just for the guys.
I had one comment that in your application, you said it would sit on cinder blocks, and that sounds a fairly weak foundation, but we really have no say in that. That's a code issue that we have to deal with a building inspector on. So I just want to make sure that if we approve it, that isn't approved because that's outside our purview.
Should something like this be built on a continuous concrete type of a foundation? What can I do? What am I expected to do with a building this small? Can you tell me, sir?
It can be put on a foundation, you put on slabs, and it's put on runners. There's a lot of different ways, but it's got to be attached to the ground to where it can
It
go.
has to be attached to the ground.
I mean, it can be.
Whether it's a spiral anchor or such, you know how they do that
Right,
way.
I could anchor those blocks and mortar them in place, correct? Okay.
Since it was-
Okay, I will put it, I will fasten it to the ground. I'm aware, right,
That's
the
something
wind.
that we don't deal with, that would be Mr. Ward's jurisdiction.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
And I apologize for not having the drawings, a whole bunch of drawings that was done. I knew this gentleman was familiar with the building. A couple of other gentlemen out here on the table are familiar with the building. It's a substantial building.
Okay.
I just have a question. I remember that, what was this, last year, there was, what was it, the Smiths, they wanted to fix the little shed that was back there in that little area that you had. And I remember there was a lot of the people that are on this list that were upset about the old shed being fixed up. And then now all the same people on this list are okay with this old shed being drug into the neighborhood. So that was a little confusing to me. I mean, I guess what I was, and the other thing that I would like to say is, it's to my understanding that we're not supposed to be bringing pre-made sheds around the historic district.
I think that
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I would like some clarification among the board as to that.
My thought about that would be this was built, it's been in the historic district, it was built here. It's not like it came from Home Depot. That type of thing might be more of an issue. Something that's factory fabricated.
It's in Old Bisbee getting relocated
Yeah.
to an area in Old Bisbee.
Right,
And I would like to add that moving buildings around is a classic Bisbee thing.
Granted. Yeah, Jiggerville, I bought a house that was
Can
moved.
I have a comment.
Sure, you're part of the application. Please step on up and state your name and address. Go ahead and step up to the microphone.
I'm Nancy Potenza. I'm Nancy Potenza, Mark's wife, living at the same address, 225.
Okay.
And just in response to what you were saying,
Yes.
John, the people on the list were actually, I remember a year ago, we were opposed to removing that old historic garage.
Mm-hmm.
well, that doesn't really have any bearing on.
No, I was just wondering, well, and I'm stepping out of turn here, but yeah, I got some nasty emails from people that are mad about me for standing up for the people that.
I'd like to make a motion
So,
Please do.
to approve application 1955 as submitted.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
nay.
Okay, you got one against. You're good to go.
Okay, thank you. Is that it?
That's it.
That's all.
It's up to you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
The window.
Three windows.
Don't forget your window. The one
Is that double pane?
No, it will be a double hung.
Bye, Mark, you have a good night.
We'll be up there to check that out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, new business, agenda item 7, application 19-56, residential historic district. Upper Main Street, built about 1930, located at 202 Tombstone Canyon. Representative Joseph Lewis. This is to seek approval for the big chair sign. Is there somebody here who's going to represent that? Yeah,
The applicant will speak first, and then we can go on and talk to. Well, run it. Go
Well,
ahead.
I wonder if there's anybody in the county that's not familiar with the Big Chair. It's called the Big Chair. People know it. I didn't know that. Anyway, you all know where it is and what it is and the history of it. The Boys and Girls Club painted it, and hundreds, if not thousands, of people have taken their pictures in it and spread a good word about Bisbee. With that said, I realize it's controversial, and whatever the board decides, I will abide by, and if the board decides that the chair should go, the chair will leave. Any questions?
Is it a matter of the chair, or is it a matter of the hashtag on the chair?
Well, that's a question you would need to decide, but I guess it would be referred to this committee, would ultimately, if you approve the chair, would have to get a separate sign permit for the chair.
Comments, questions about the chair?
I have a question, I think,
Yeah.
to the city manager. This is essentially the promotional item for Bisbee. I know it sits in the historic district, but I mean, is there a policy that we have as a community for what we allow as promotional things versus historic things. I mean, that's your argument for the chair, that a lot of people take a picture, they see the hashtag, they come to Bisbee.
Right, so being promotional would not supersede the design review guidelines.
Okay. I think basically the chair is it's an advertisement for your business, right?
I'd argue it another way, but I can understand why people,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm promoting a hashtag, which, familiar with hashtags, anybody can use, and then it goes up on monitors. But again, I can see how it can be argued that way. I'm not here to,
Yeah, no,
I've had enough people upset with me, I'm gonna do whatever,
right,
say the deal.
right, now we're just trying to get to the bottom of it, that's all. It's also a sign, basically, a sign, and it doesn't really, tonight I brought this book that Doug Dunn has
I bought a
done
copy of that.
of signs.
Exactly.
But I didn't see any chairs in there. Any other comments?
Could I ask you, how long has the chair been there? I think it's quite a while.
About a year and 4 months or so, around in there.
Has anyone complained to you about it?
People either love it or hate it. There's no, that's true with everything though, right?
Yeah.
I think the chair took a little trip one time.
We like to say, there's a joke inside, it's been to chair jail twice, which is over at the city hall, so.
Right.
But it isn't, you know, we were told at that point, we didn't know what the process was, we were told to put it on private property and it would be fine, so. Not easy to find a piece of private property, but then, you know, just recently, a month and a half ago or so, we got the letter. And unlike a lot of people in Bisbee, they ignore those letters. I wanted to go through the right process.
So currently, whose property is this chair on?
It's on, I forget the gentleman's name.
Robert
maybe-
Willis.
Robert Willis.
Okay. And it's located,
It's located right on the edge of,
the Banshee?
a bench, yeah, bench.
So,
I met with him, of course.
Yeah.
this is my thoughts on the chair. I really like the chair. I think the chair is awesome, and I personally would like to see the chair stay. The only issue that I see with the chair is that we let you have the chair there because it's cool and most people like it and everyone likes to take pictures in it and stuff like that. But the problem is how far does that go? Then we have people bringing other furniture and putting little logos on them for their businesses and stuff like that. And I think that that's what we're trying to prevent on the board. And I'm against, just recently, the Firewise program that many people love and I don't really hate, but I don't think that their signs should be posted all over Bisbee. So I'm against the Firewise signs being posted all over Bisbee. So in that effect, for me, I'd have to be against your sign being posted in Bisbee because I think that if you have to stay consistent with that.
I
And that's
respect
all.
that, just so you know where the idea came from. I mean, it's popular in a lot of old towns throughout. Came from Tempe. Downtown Tempe has been very
Yes.
successful.
Right.
In fact, he's the same carpenter that built Tempe's.
Yeah.
Not that that makes much of a difference.
Oh, it's a nice chair. Go ahead, Dave.
I think if we're agreeable with the font and any other things that normally the signs have to go through, then that should be all that's needed on his behalf. So we've rejected signs because the font is like too modern or, goes up to the edge of the sign and is not balanced. I don't think that would be the case with this. I would like to reinforce your argument, John, that we've also had issues with A-frame signs in the back of trucks.
Yes.
And which those people had to get rid of that sign as well too. So we do have to be consistent with that. So that said, I think as a design, I don't see anything wrong with the font that was chosen for Bisbee for Fun. Bisbee's filled with commercial ventures, and this is one of them, whatever. Like, if it looks okay, then I don't see he's going through the proper hoops. Is he not? So,
Yes, I would say though, it's not historical in any nature. And and the signage that we deal with typically are for businesses that are attached to the sign right there.
Attached to the actual business.
Right, or, this is kind of ethereal, it's, you get on the internet, do it, I guess. It's not really, you're not selling anything.
No, we're just, well, excuse me, do I have the microphone or does the audience have the
You got
microphone?
it, you got it. Go
Okay.
ahead. Please, no comments yet. Wait your turn.
In all due respect, a hashtag works by, if you take a picture of something, people having fun, and you're on Instagram, and you post, some people will post 20 hashtags, different experiences are associated with what they're doing. There is a little small part on the chair that says donate or something, it's in your packet, where it says, well, Boys and Girls Club, thanks for painting the chair, and it says, very small, I mean, in font about 14 points, bisbeeforfun.com. So that's the big hypothetical is there, that somebody's gonna go up to that little bisbeeforfun.com and say, oh, I wonder if they do Airbnbs. And then go on there and say, oh yeah, they do Airbnbs, and maybe I'll rent from them and I won't rent from anybody else because they're just completely different things. So the hashtag is completely different. I'm trying to promote Bisbee, whether you agree with it or don't, it's fine, but,
Well, here's another scenario. Let's just say that the chair, we let the chair stay, and that we decide that chairs with these things are allowed in the historic district. How many of these are we gonna allow?
That's my question.
Right.
I think it sets a precedent. I don't want this to turn into Disneyland. Not that your chair's
No, I
Disneyland.
respect,
I think we're gonna take a long view here,
but,
and allowing you to leave your chair, which really doesn't have any historical value to.
no, it's
I-
purely marketing for Bisbee,
It's
you're right,
great,
it's not
it's
historic.
great that you're, please, no comments.
You're
Until, wait,
gonna get your opportunity.
If you can't control yourself, we will have you removed.
That's Frank's job.
relax.
Go ahead.
You have,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I was just saying, I think it might set a bad precedent for Old Bisbee, maybe you could put it over in Warren, with this different, deal. Yeah, I mean, at one time it was over at the Boys and Girls Club, I remember seeing it over there.
Well, that's when they were painting it.
Painting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Any questions?
let's let Kathy say her thing, and then we'll call you back.
Come on up. Please state your name and address.
Kathy Soden, 81 Main Street. First off, Bisbee for Fun is his website. His website promotes his Airbnbs, not Bisbee Airbnbs, but his. So this is personal advertising. That's why it's on the agenda, because it's a special use permit because it's off-site advertising. So that's why you guys need to look at it. It's a monument sign, according to the guidelines. The materials of a monument sign complement or are compatible with the materials and colors of the architecture on the site. It loses right there, okay? Then, if you go to 7.5 in the planning and zoning, it says the design review board has the authority to impose additional limitations or requirements upon the signs to be installed or maintained within the historic district as necessary to ensure that such signs are consistent with the design guidelines and the regulations adopted to protect this area and are compatible with the existing development within this district. Signs that are out of proportion or scale to the existing development within the district will not be permitted. I would say this is kind of out of proportion or scale, okay? And then, it's also not consistent with the historic period of the district. They didn't have Adirondack chairs in an Arizona mining district in the 1900s, I'm sorry. The other thing is, it's very precedent setting. I almost thought about calling 5 merchants and having 5 people put in a request to put a chair with a sign on it in front of their businesses. Because what this would do, and it's not just about the chair, it's about the sign too. What if I thought, well, my favorite restaurant is the Quarry. I'm gonna advertise the Quarry in the front of my shop. So now it says Finders Keepers Antiques, and there's another sign that says go to the Quarry, or go to the Parlor, or go someplace else. It could trash up the whole district. And to be perfectly honest, there's a chair just like that in Tombstone, which doesn't say a lot for the taste. The DRB's intent is to encourage harmonious growth and orderly development, and to assure future setting design and construction will correspond to and enhance the visual character of the district. I think this is a no-brainer, but thank you for this.
Okay, thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Kathy.
Any further questions?
Is there anybody else that wants to speak to this
For
application?
the applicant? Joe?
I just like to remind the board that I believe this is about the sign, not the chair.
Yes.
More, it's more about the sign than it is the chair, that's all.
I had something to say.
Yes.
I do feel that we're kind of opening a door here where we could get a table or a park bench or oversized furniture where if we allow this to go through, then we're kind of cracking that door open. And I would hate to see other applicants come to us who say, well, you know, you guys allowed this.
Right.
I don't know if this is for personal gain or what it's for. It kind of just arrived, the chair did, and it was just there, and I think everybody kind of accepted it. But now that the application's here and we have a vote on it, I don't know if it's fitting for our district.
I agree.
Donna wants to say something.
I like the chair. I think the chair would be really good in front of his Airbnb on Tombstone Canyon. And by the way, that Airbnb already has a sign that when I was on the design review board, we asked Mr. Lewis to modify that sign because it did not fit to the historic guidelines, and he was not very cooperative in doing that, and that sign still remains. So I think that the chair would be more appropriate in front of his own business, his own Airbnb, and have at it. But I think he needs to conform with the design, with the guidelines regarding signage.
Right.
Yeah, I guess technically we couldn't tell him how to paint his personal property.
That'd be a different application.
Right.
So,
All right,
we don't
would you have a motion, please?
chair just went down. Yeah. I would like to make a motion to deny application 1956.
I'll second that. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Nay.
So-
Aye. Thank you.
So it's 2 nays.
Yes.
Motion is denied.
Frank, would you clarify the nays, please?
It's Ben
Okay,
and Steve.
okay, thank you.
I think you made the right decision. Okay, let's see, that was number 7. Number 8, Johnny's not here yet. Application 9-57, Residential Historic District, non-contributing property. Number 239, located at 735 Tombstone Canyon, Dolores Jones. And Johnny's not here, so we could move ahead with the next one and put you on later. So we'll move on to item 9. Application 9-59, Residential Historic District, non-contributing property, 966, located at 507 Bailey Hill.
Good evening, Bonnie Williams. What would you like to know?
Well, just tell us a little bit what you're doing, that's all.
Trying to complete putting the hardy plank, the cement board siding on the top of the house. So some of it was completed years ago under Bob Nesquith, and he was the building inspector.
Right.
And I didn't have enough money to complete it, so trying to get it done.
Can I ask,
Yes.
what portions were completed under Bob Nesbitt?
Should be on that, but let's say close to, let's see.
Was it
It's an
the
oddly
hardwood
shaped
siding?
house, it's not a box. okay?
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of sides
Yeah.
to it. The only thing that had not been sided might be easier to describe, and that is a small portion of the upper front story and the entrance two-story. area.
So the new siding, that's hardy board siding that you're trying to match with,
Mhm.
is on the south side, and that was done, Bob Messwood did that, or
Yeah,
it was done
yeah.
under him. I was just there today walking around, I don't know if you saw me, and I did notice the newer siding and the older siding.
And it'll all be white again.
Yeah, and, I mean, personally, the newer siding looks fine. However, on a technicality, it goes against our guidelines which prevent a hardy board like siding to have faux wood grain. And the newer siding that she wants to match it to, which was previously approved, has that faux wood grain. And so we've denied other applicants that same thing, yet this is another tricky one, yet she wants to match, and I don't blame her. Something, and so that's the cedar,
Cedar Mill.
yeah, you've got a website photo of it, and I looked it up. So there's a dilemma there about consistency.
So you'd rather
Something
not
she had
have
before approved, and so to not allow her to match the new thing and just finish the job, because there is dry rot on that siding.
I think that, on the board here, we have to have some common sense, and that was, it was approved before, with continuity. Certainly in the future, we will not approve that style siding.
So you want to explain?
Well, no, what I'm gonna say is you can go ahead and match what you have. That's my opinion about it, because it's already existing, it was approved by previous building inspector, so it would be even odder to have two different types of siding.
It would look worse.
Yeah, so
I'm just curious as to why you would prefer flat over green.
Because back in the day, they didn't put the wood grain on there. They were into smooth surfaces, so they machined everything, all the wood siding and everything. You didn't see wood grain. They didn't have it unless it was actual pieces of wood.
Well,
And another thing
you
is
really
that
can't tell unless you're very close to it.
the National Parks Guidelines wants to prevent people from making artificial old duplicates.
No, I
So they prefer real wood, matching the construction of the day rather than faux wood grain, which is like a kind of a Disneyland duplicate. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong about that assumption, but that's my interpretation of those guidelines, is they don't want something that's faux. So that's why it's in there now. We have an opportunity to change that or approve certain manufacturers that don't look too tacky or whatnot.
This looks pretty realistic in my opinion.
Well, that's the rub. They want to prevent. They want the original architecture that's historic to be discernible from the new. So that's
right.
Now I
Go ahead,
understand.
John.
Well, I'd have to say, given that we are here for aesthetics, mainly aesthetics only, I'd like to make a motion. I don't know if there's anyone else that would like to speak to this.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve application 19-59 as is.
I'll second that. Motion's been made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's passed.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Okay, agenda item 10, application 19-61, residential historic district contributing property. Number 13, located at 147 Brewery Gulch.
Members of the board, Councilman Johns, I am Craig and Gloria Emmanuel, 147 Bury. This residence has been in our family since about 1938, and we've labored to restore the dwelling to its lovely condition. What we're trying to do is build a stairway to access our top upper lot, and that's in the breezeway located behind the house, and it provides us a safe access to use our backyard. We're also matching the existing wrought iron fence that surrounds the property. Any questions?
Questions?
What's the material that you want to use for the staircase itself?
A wooden staircase.
Okay. Doug fir, redwood.
Initially, I had talked fir.
Okay, good. I'm just asking.
It's a 6-foot staircase.
So this isn't really visible from the gulch, is it?
It's not readily visible,
Yeah.
it sits behind my house.
Yeah.
Yes. But the wrought iron or the wrought iron fencing certainly will be visible and add to the beauty of the matching.
Oh, it's nice.
existing-
Yeah, looks good.
That's nice. I don't have a problem with it.
Any other questions? Someone make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 19-61 as submitted.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Other members of the board.
I see Johnny's here, so we'll jump back to number 8. Application 9-57, Bisbee Residential Historic District, non-contributing property, 293, located at 735 Tombstone. Good job.
Evening.
Just explain what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I'm John Wavy, painting et cetera. Up on that, their address there, the design came from the little Garfield Park, the little canopy up there, gazebo looking thing.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same design, just shrunk down a little bit. And just went over the top of some concrete, just like, nice little Ramada forest area for it.
Any questions for John about this?
It's all made out of, Doug, it's gonna be Doug fir, rough sawn, most of it, all the visible stuff, all the stuff that ain't visible, it's just all gonna be Doug, basically all wood and metal brackets and stuff like that.
And we haven't received any negative comments on this. If there's no more questions, I can have someone make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve application 1957 as submitted.
Second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, John.
Okay, agenda item 11, application 9-36, residential historic district, 24 Main Street.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Sloan Surveyor, 51 Main and 24 Main Street.
Yeah, just tell us about the
Yeah,
sign.
so I'd like to put up signs in front of my art galleries.
Right.
We chose the font based on the railroad Gothic typeface of the royal sign over 27 Main. We wanted a sans serif font,
Right.
and we wanted to be very straightforward with the name of the business.
There was an existing sign
There were
there,
existing signs.
hanging at the
Correct.
time, with Sampo.
Sampo was at one and Hot and Spicy was the other.
Any questions for Sloan?
So the era of the sans serif font and the era of kind of the artwork that he sells, they go together, right?
Well,
Like
I
they're-
have a
like-
contemporary art gallery,
Okay.
and so I didn't want
That's what I
a
was going
script, a font with a lot of script to it, so I wanted something very plain and simple that looked like a lot of the signs that were back in, because the signs back in the day were very, very simple. And so for my purposes, I think that works for a contemporary art gallery, but it also looks very similar to the signs that were back in the day in the early 1900s. Very, very plain, just the word of the business.
Any further questions?
How many signs are you planning on putting up?
One at 24 Main and one at 51 Main.
Okay, thank you.
Under existing brackets there, at both places.
Okay. Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 19-63 as submitted.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right. Takes care of our applications. Agenda item number 12, update and appointment of the 7th member. Any word on that?
Yes, so I understand that there are a couple of applications in, and that the mayor will make a recommendation at the next council meeting.
Okay, great.
Suspense.
Suspense, right? Agenda item 13, update regarding design review board meeting attendance.
So there was a question at a previous meeting about missing meetings. For this board, there is no absence, nothing about being absent more than 3 consecutive times.
There's nothing in our bylaws about that.
Yeah, and there's nothing about after an absence, the board being able to vote to retain or release a member from duty. So that is something that could be looked at and added to the code.
To the code, if we would like. Okay.
And I think the reason why it's been brought up is we've been having special session after special session after special session because we don't have quorums and stuff to take care of people, so.
Well, we definitely want to avoid that if we can. I mean, it's been, for myself, it was a special circumstance. Typically, I'm here, so.
Well,
And it's also given Todd an opportunity
To shine.
Well, we just wanna try to get people, I mean, we've talked to the mayor too, and he was over and he's brought it up. And, we just want everyone to start trying to be here more.
It makes us look unprepared.
Right.
Then you got the dumbest guys in Bisbee trying to run the board, so.
You can learn someday.
So what's the next step on this? Because I think definitely there needs to be some process implemented.
Yeah, as I recall, the board itself is, let's see, that's not where it is. So it's within the zoning code. It would be an amendment to the zoning code to add some attendance guidelines for the design review
So
board.
what we need to do, I think, is next meeting, if you want to address this, bring it up.
If we want to address this.
Yeah, it's up to us to address it.
As a board.
And then we would come up with a proposal and send that to the zoning.
Okay.
Planning and zoning commission.
And then they'd have to give their say, and then eventually it'd go to the council to be approved. So would you like to put that on the agenda?
Would we like to?
Well,
I think you're kind of looking directly at
well,
me.
you brought it.
So I think we're a board here. We're a cohesive unit, correct? And we're short one.
Yeah.
But I have brought it up in the past. I know Mr. Sky has, and I think even Mr. Leckley's chimed in a time or two about it. And I think it's important that we're here. And whenever we have,
I think, if I may, I think that it's a volunteer board. I think people are here as much as they can be, and there are times when people can't be.
Of course.
This summer, we struggle a little bit.
we struggle a lot.
But that's, in my experience, I've been on this board 6 years straight, and now another 3 years. And in my experience, that has not been a big issue. Because if we really, is one way, if we don't have a quorum, a lot of times we've been able to call a person, if they're available, and put them on by phone, and we can get a quorum that way. So, personally, I don't think that it's myself, that it needs to be addressed, but if the rest of the board wants to put it on the agenda, then...
I'm looking at the application here, and it seems like when you're committing to this, you have to do some type of, you have to agree to some stuff here, right? So maybe we should put in, you know, must show up 3 consecutive times, you know, otherwise you're getting kicked off. I definitely feel that maybe we should add to this
That's why I
application.
say again, John, I mean, Todd, if you wanna put this on the next agenda, we can do that.
I don't see that it would hurt anything to make a little bit more accountability to showing up to these meetings. I know that they've definitely been, just getting off topic a little bit, but they've had the same problem with the council meetings back when, you know, other council members weren't showing up, and I think that was hurting them, and I think that we could maybe, you know, fix our little city government, just a
Then
small.
let's put it on, let's put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Good. Good.
And we'll discuss it further.
I think I was kind of getting singled out there, Frank, you're looking directly at me.
Because you brought it up.
Well, and so I want to make sure that this is a group decision.
Well-
And if, Frank, if you don't want it, and the rest of the board doesn't want it, we won't put it on.
No, we haven't gotta go with consensus, let's put it on, let's discuss it. It's not up to me,
Okay.
it's not up to me.
All right.
I'm just a facilitator, I'm not the dictator. All right, so agenda item 14, update regarding the 2 houses that are located on Naco Road. Historic district.
Yes, so
Oh,
John
yes.
Sky had asked me about adding 2 houses to the historic district. There are actually 3 properties there or 2 properties, 3 structures on Naco Road that are not within either the commercial or the residential historic district. So it would mean expanding one of those 2 districts. I did have a conversation with Don Ryden, who had previously assisted the city on the Warren Historic District designation. And there are some new guidelines. So one is that if we were to expand either of those districts, we would have to go back and photograph and explain why each property not included was not included. So it would mean an expanded inventory. And then we would need to update our maps to include the footprints of the non-contributing properties, and then do a reconnaissance of the neighborhoods to verify that all of the properties that are currently included were still in the same shape or same contributing condition that they were at the time that the initial district was put in place. So knowing that those 3 things have to happen, I would.
It's a lot of work.
Yes, and we still don't have the Warren Historic Districts completed yet.
But if I may chime in here, those 2 structures that we're talking about, I have a feeling are contributing.
Right.
I believe so.
They have to be, and I mean, those are unique in themselves because those are the very first 2 that you see when you're coming into Old Bisbee.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying that
Technically, they're not.
that it's a larger process than just.
Could we put it on the back burner till after we deal with Warren? Would that be
Yes,
something?
I mean, that might be
Or
a
here's
time.
a suggestion.
Yes, but-
Folding it into the scope of work of Warren.
There you
The
go.
process that Warren is going through, and maybe there's some catch-up, and just folding it into that. And maybe there's other properties at the end of like Moon or whatever that could also be folded into. If we're gonna do that.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll just leave
We
that to
won't
you.
lose track of them,
I
but.
don't want to see those. I think those are very unique in
Yeah,
themselves.
and there's actually the structure that's between them and the district is also,
Well, what's interesting about those is that
Currently in there.
Old Bisbee Enterprises is working on those 2 structures. So that application, there would be no application on it. They can just go ahead and work on
Yeah,
it
good.
with the
Yeah.
permit.
You can do whatever you want over there. McDonald's sign or.
Seriously,
We're thinking about shooting one up.
and that's unfortunate
yep,
We know where you live.
yeah.
because that'd be the perfect place.
Yeah, you put a
That'd be a
chair.
perfect place to
There you go.
Put the
Word show.
There's your chair.
settle down, Donna.
Okay. All right, can we move on to
Yeah.
Agenda item 15, update regarding design review guidelines.
So, keeping in mind that there was interest in updating the guidelines, in some conversations I had, I actually discovered that guidelines were updated in 2010, though not formally adopted. It does mean that they're 10 years old. They're in the council packet. If you want to look at them online, if you want Nina to email them, we can email them to everyone. So
I think that would be good.
yeah, so at this point, I would say that we're accepting comments. I'm working with Christine McLaughlin at the county, who's a new planner and has historic experience. So, for example, these address homes built in 1950. Now homes built in 1960 can be considered historical. So there's some updates, and I certainly need comments from everyone.
So that might confuse, well, that might, when we fold in the 50s and 60s, that might confuse some people because that's now mid-century modern and ranch style.
Right.
So we have to just take a look at those and value those more than we did
before. Right.
Is there a way to get some paper copies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Who would like to have a paper
I
copy? Okay. 3. Okay.
I wouldn't even mind making some copies.
No.
PDF is fine.
PDF is fine for you.
I can print it out.
I'd like
Okay.
a hard copy, old school.
Okay.
I'd like a hard copy, please.
Okay. Okay. Nina will print those and send those out to you so you can bring comments back perhaps at your next meeting. Or you know what, you can just shoot me comments too.
Okay.
Doesn't
Thank
have
you,
to be
Teresa.
formally.
Thank you. That's
Okay.
great that you found those. Staff comments.
Let's see. Yeah, so I did want to update you on administrative approvals that have taken place. So there was an administrative approval for 223 Youngblood Hill, that's in your packet, and an administrative approval for 416B Purley Street, that's also in your packet. Then I had some comments from Joe Ward. Did you want to address the comments on the level of drawings?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm prepared for that.
okay.
There's been, what I see has been mission creep as far as the level of drawings that you guys have been asking for. And what we have in the zoning code regarding that is zoning code 3.5.2, and B pertains to that. It says prior to the preparation of architectural engineering drawings for all sites, you know, blah, blah, blah. But it says, in 2, it says adequate illustration of the building and the building's character and treated to scale of the elevations, front and sides of the building, and maximum heights of the building shall be included. And my point on that was that we need to keep our level of expectation accessible to ordinary residents, and very often they're capable of making these drawings on their own. And photographs is actually a superior, in my opinion, are superior to their drawings, because if they take a photograph and put a scale to it, I mean, as far as the height of the building and such, that you guys would need, but a photograph is going to present it much better than anybody's drawing will. And I think that you guys need to, or I would encourage you, is what I should say, to be more open-minded about that. And I was just concerned that we were getting to where we were requiring professional services, and I
think a problem we've been having is some of them have been illegible.
Yeah.
And I know
Simple is fine, as long as we can read it.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, go ahead.
yeah, or illegible or too general or generic. So let's say, for example, an applicant comes up and has a hyper-detailed drawing, which has happened in the past, and then we start nitpicking on that person because they did the extra effort of having all the detail, whereas when you have a photograph with a pencil sketch over it, there's nothing to nitpick.
Right.
And so that person gets the advantage, and that's just what I see is some sort of middle ground. Maybe there's dimensions on it,
Right.
or something like that.
Should be dimensions.
Or graph
Paragraph
paper.
3 of the 252 it says, information permit, understanding the application. I think that also applies really well to their illustration, that if they're able to convey to you guys what they're trying to do, that's the pertinent part. I'm just,
Yes.
you know, I'm just.
That's the idea.
And I'm not trying here to lecture you guys. You know, you guys do a great job in what you do. And I just wanted to make sure that we don't get too technical.
Sure.
on that, is all.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joel.
Future agenda item suggestions, I think we've made one already. Any other?
We didn't talk about Tynes,
Who?
David Tynes.
The house up on, across from Garfield Park, that's,
805 Tombstone Canyon.
we're still trying to figure out
Oh,
who
yeah.
owns or whatever, or what.
Yeah, do you have any
Okay.
updates on that? Or we-
I don't, but,
Next meeting.
I feel like
okay, we'll
he's-
go back to
That
it.
application's slowly falling through
It
the
looks
cracks,
It kinda looks like
and
it
it seemed, and it makes us look,
Well, I think at some point in time, it will be up for taxes or something, there's gonna be some kind of movement, and then, maybe we could just pay the taxes on it and fix it ourselves.
Well, at the next meeting, let's have a, if we can.
And that's 805 Tombstone?
Yeah, it's that one
Okay.
that we've been after.
Okay.
Cause what it,
And there's been no movement on it lately that I can see.
Okay,
well, at this point, we just need to see if it's in some kind of probate or.
okay.
do we handle, or does the city handle that, Teresa? To look into the tax status of?
Yeah.
Maybe that, yeah.
And the probate status, whatever, find out who owns.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're interested in buying it, you should look.
It's just looking, it's just getting to the point where it's like a nagging, like
Right.
we're nagging
Okay.
him, he's not doing
If I
anything.
wasn't so busy, I would've done
Okay.
it already.
Yeah,
I
well,
would've just went and finished
I've
it
gotten
till maybe
emails
it
about
stopped
that.
leaking.
What's that?
With
I said, I've
something.
gotten emails about that house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it
Okay.
every day, it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
been a lot.
frustrating the negligence on it.
it's been on the radar for quite a while.
But if that is what's going on, that he doesn't actually own, he's not on the deed to it, it makes sense why he isn't putting in the effort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, Joel, I was gonna ask for code enforcement,
Please step up.
where are we at on, where are you at on that?
I think David Tynes has been contemptful of the board and the city in the way, and this has been
Yeah.
going on for 6 years now with me.
Right.
And I am so tired of all the smoke and no fire, as they used to say.
Right.
But it's just, we're coming really close to being able to have a citation that I issue.
Okay,
We're very close to that.
great.
And that's all, the city staff's all for that, the upper staff. And so I am really looking forward to giving one of those to Mr. Tynes.
But what good is a citation if it's in a dead person's name? I mean, I don't know,
But-
you're gonna
Well,
give
we'll find out.
I
the,
think that's a good point.
If there's enough
It's not his
citations,
house.
We would have to send it to the.
To the owner.
If there's an estate.
That's what we need to find
Whoever's on
out,
the
if there's an
paperwork,
estate.
It's maybe not Mr. Tynes.
if
but
there's enough citations issued, can the city put a lien on the property?
Enough citations, the very first citation, it goes before the court, and the city magistrate would decide what the value is per day for the violation, and pretty soon really quickly, we would accrue so much money against the property that we would kind of be de facto owners, and it would eventually be able to.
but
seize the
could you
board.
do that given the owner is dead?
We'd have
I don't
to,
see how that would be.
We'll have to look into
Corporations-
that.
Yeah.
Corporations aren't people either, but they still have to, they still are liable for what they do.
Yeah.
And there's still, even though the lady is gone, there's somebody that's responsible for it, and it's gonna be, her estate right now is the person, is the
Right.
entity.
Yes.
should
I
say, that's
know you're
responsible.
anxious to move on, but this is one of those applications that is like a plague to us.
Right.
And it's, what is it, probably one of our longest applications
So-
that is still in the system?
Right.
So I definitely wanna get something going here that's concrete, like
We could probably use some legal advice on that.
let's get
from
something
the
going,
attorney.
like that's for
So can we
real.
nail you down on the, talking about lawyers?
Yes.
Great.
Great.
Just for information, what triggers a citation, Jeff?
A violation of the city code or the
I see.
zoning code.
But that would apply to an awful lot of things.
It would apply to a lot
Yeah,
of things, yeah.
right.
But
Well, this
we haven't
one's
had that- we haven't had
pretty
that.
egregious.
Oh, and we're still
Please.
at a standstill with the, you being able to, issue violation, or tickets, right?
Yeah, he said that.
What
Yeah,
we're doing
so
is
he's
establishing
getting
what
closer
the
to it.
form will be, and we're emulating another city's form, and it's in the advanced stages at this point, but it's not in my hands yet, but we're getting real close.
Without violating open meeting law, I wanna know.
You're getting a citation.
That's how I'll know.
Do you have a warning booklet? I'm gonna need that one a lot.
All right.
Okay, I'd just like to point out this book, if you guys haven't seen it, you've probably seen Doug's
cool.
collection. I think this could be a big help to us. References.
Could I have that book?
Come this side. You can't have that one. Doug's probably got one you can buy.
Can we get some issued to us?
Teresa, could we get some books, please?
Yes, you could get books. I will see what's in your budget.
That's awesome. Do we have a budget?
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah, it's 0.
All right, if there's nothing else to come before the board this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second that?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.